Hello.
Hi, how are you, my love?
I am doing fantastic. How are you?
I'm good. I can't complain. I can't see you. I was going to give it another minute or two for the ladies to come in, but we'll just get started here shortly.
Sounds good. Let me rearrange the lighting and stuff. Oh, and go to the restroom real quick.
Mhm. Hi, Tanu.
Hi,
How are
how
you, my love?
good. How are you? Hi, Dira.
I'm good. I think she might have went to the restroom. I was giving it one more minute for the ladies to join. I missed you, ladies. How are you? How was your holiday?
Oh, it was good. That break was much needed. Believe me. Like I am feeling a little different person. I'm feeling like now I have that energy where I can just put in all my efforts in one direction and don't feel rushed and don't feel that, everything is too much. So now I'm in that position to sink in and just let the process happen.
I love it. Awesome. Hi, Brita. Welcome. Brita, my bad. Oh, I missed you ladies. Last time it was really like we only had Dira and Tina over here. So I believe Tammy's going to be joining us today, and so is Tina, but we can kind of get started. Do you ladies have your charts handy? We're going to be looking at the throat. I don't know if you
Oh, okay.
can you see my screen?
Yep.
Perfect. Yeah, I'm really going to flow more than like teach today because this is about you, your brand, your voice, and finding the way to one, make sales, and two, how to communicate what you do in the most efficient way. So today's going to be more of a talking about what the throat is, what the gates are, and then one-on-one, depending on where you feel like you need support, to use this hour to help level you up because it's time for you ladies to start turning all of this knowing into money, right?
Yes.
Britta, I don't see your face, my love. But that's perfectly fine if you can't. I just won't be able to see the chat. So just feel free to unmute if anything, okay? We'll give everybody a minute to get settled. But today we are talking about the throat. Do we even know what the throat is in human design? Do we have any idea? Dira, Tanu, anyone?
Communication, the way we speak, the way we express ourselves.
It's bigger than that. So in human design, the throat located right here is also the manifestation center. So if you think about it energetically, all of the energy in the body is pushing to get to the throat. Because when you speak it into existence, then you can have it, right? So whether your throat is defined or open, everything is trying to move into the throat. So this is where your brand voice is, your authenticity, your identity, your voice, who you are, right? How you communicate your purpose, how you come to be. So let me see if I can put presentation for myself. Okay, hopefully this will do. There we go. Awesome. So in human design, it is the manifestation center, authentic voice, creative expression, and depending on what kind of business you have, it's also the voice of your brand. So we're going to talk about the throat at a high level because even though I could go deep and talk about the blocks, I really just want to help you move through wherever you're stuck, right? So in the throat is how we do business and we want to manifest, we want to bring money into our existence. So it's all about getting your voice out into the world in the right way, right? You want to be authentic, you want to let your intuition move through, and all of the goodness that comes from the throat is just a matter of allowing yourself to be and speak as you, right? So 78% of the world has a defined throat. Who here has an undefined throat where it's white? Britta? Okay. So Tanu and Dira, yours is defined?
No, mine is white.
Okay, so yours is undefined as well. Good. That's good. I wanted to make sure where I should be spending the most time. So I'm going to give you a brief synopsis. My gosh, my words today, I apologize. A brief synopsis of how each show up and then how to work with what you got, okay? So if you have a defined throat, that would be you, Dira, or any of the ladies if they come in later. You have a level of confidence about yourself, whether you know it or not. You say what you mean, and you mean what you say. You don't have to plan conversations in your head. And if you do, that's conditioning, right? So the biggest thing for you is you actually affect or influence people because they take in your voice, your very powerful voice, and they amplify it. So someone like Tanu and Britta, they would literally take your words and speak on your words and like amplify it like a microphone, right? So for you, you have a very specific way that you express yourself. You have a very specific audience that resonates with you. And deeper than that, it's about learning how to work with the gates that you have. Someone with an undefined throat, you get to play around with all the gates. Someone with a defined throat, you have what you have. Hi, Tina.
I just realized my upper section is white. The throat is colored.
So this is colored in?
Yeah.
Okay, so you have a defined throat. You are part of this.
Okay.
So the reason where the defined throat is amazing is in business, you have a powerful voice. You can convey your message. You can connect with people, but you only hear yourself. So you have to allow other people to express or to feel differently about your words. People with a defined throat come across direct, blunt, and to the point. So everybody doesn't like us, right? Only some people, and I have a defined throat, so you know me, right? I'm very blunt, and for some people it's a shock when I can bluntly say, like, no, I disagree, right? Someone with an open throat would struggle more to speak back, right? So the biggest thing with a defined throat, again, we go back to fixed. So you could be rude, you could be dismissive, your tone can come across really heavy. So the biggest thing with the throat is learning to follow your strategy. Both of you are generator types. Wait to respond. If you are out there initiating, trying to tell the world what you think, what to be, what to do, it doesn't work. So the way for you to convert, the way for you to connect, the way for you to make sales is to create opportunities to respond. In marketing, that looks like responding to things that light you up or things that upset you. That looks like responding to something that your client said and be like, wow, after she said this, this is what I feel about that. This is what I know to be true about that. And I'm going to show you the gate specifically, but basically you want to create opportunities to respond. Even when you're doing an intro call, you don't say, these are my prices. You say at the end, do you have any questions? Because if people are resonating with you, they're going to say, absolutely, give you the questions and give you their money. Now for Tammy, she's not here right now, but she's a manifester. I don't recall if her throat is defined or undefined, but for the recording, if it is defined, Tammy, you are the only one that's expected to initiate. You are expected to inform, and you are meant to tell people, these are my prices, this is what I got, and they literally say, yes, ma'am. So with great power comes great responsibility because your tone can come across really direct, really blunt, and piss a lot of people off. So I recall whenever I talked to Tammy earlier, that was something that really affected her. So hopefully, if you do have any questions, Tammy, send me a message. I'm happy to send you a Loom video. Hi, Tina. Okay, so the biggest thing here for people with a defined throat, that goes for Tanu, Dira, I believe Tina, and also Tammy, communication skills. Communication skills, communication skills. We have to soften our tone. We have to ask, not demand. We don't tell people what to do. We ask, would you like to know what I think? May I offer something? Because if you come across pushy or initiating, you literally push them away. You turn them off, right? So when it comes to sales, yeah, put it in their face, but have them ask you, what questions do you have? Right? We don't have a projector in the group, so I'm going to move on from that. But the biggest thing is just allow yourself to be heard. People will hear your expertise. People will hear what you know. They will hear you. And whenever all of you gravitated to my voice, whenever I'm live in the booth and I'm just talking about human design and I know and understand it and love it so much, my voice conveys like almost like a gravitational pull. People are like, oh my God, it's the way that you say it, Jordy, that it really speaks to me. You all have this power too. I'm going to teach you how to use it today. Okay. So number one, strategy. wait to respond, and then understand that your communication skills, you are 78% of the world. With the defined throw, you have to soften the tone so people like Breda don't feel overwhelmed. Okay. So pretty much that's all I want to say on that, because I want to focus more on helping you one-on-one to convey your message. So let's talk about the open throat. So again, right here, it would just be white. I believe this is you, Britta. So 22% of the world have an open throat. So you are in the minority. And with this one, I say, I see you, I hear you, and I know the struggle. You are not invisible. You are not unheard, right? The biggest thing for you is owning the fact that you don't have the words. You're not always going to have the words to pull on, but think of yourself as like a microphone, as a speakerphone. If you know someone who has the words, let's say you read a poem or a book, or I say something, right? And you talk about that quote or what I said. When you say what I say, let me reword that. When you speak on what you read or what you heard or what someone else says, I can reach one person, you can reach 10. Because anywhere that you're open, you take in, you sample, and you amplify times 10. So if there's a message or something that you want to get across, the way to take your power back is to understand that you don't have to feel pressure to come up with words. You don't have to feel pressure to be ready or to know what to say or to be in your head. It's more who has the words, who is inspiring me, and then how can I use their words and put my spin on those words to really fluff them up. Does that make sense? So the biggest thing here for you is, even though you have some gates where you have consistency, you can play with all of them. Depending on who you are around, you can play with all of them. So you get to sample, depending on your audience, how to convey your message. So in a way, you get to play. It's more fun. The negatives here is anywhere that you're open, you question yourself. Why don't people hear me? My voice is not good enough. I'm not converting. Number one, authority, wait to respond, right? Strategy, wait to respond. Number two, you're not meant to initiate conversations at all, and you're not meant to feel pressure to talk at all. When people want to hear you, they will call on you. You're going to be thrusted into the spotlight. They're going to say, Britta, what do you think? And then when you speak and you're amplifying someone else's words, like a mentor or someone that's like, man, marketing is blah, 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 you have the ability to convert times 10. And if you don't believe me, look at Oprah. Oprah has an open throat, right? So Oprah is no one until she takes the mic with someone else. And then she amplifies their voice by saying, wow, I read your book and this quote really hit. And when Oprah says it, the world is like, who is this woman, right? So the biggest thing here is getting out of the victimhood that something is wrong with you. Taking your power back, like you are perfectly made, nothing is wrong with you. And perception is reality. Right? So if you look at it as a speakerphone, as a microphone, as the ability to amplify, try on different voices depending on who you're around, and almost looking at Oprah as a role model, you don't have to speak, but when you do, it does carry weight. Does that make sense? Do you have any questions on that? Okay. So you might be bombarded with energy because obviously it's open, you're taking it in. So there's a lot of pressure around, am I speaking too much? So it's either the look at me syndrome, like you talk too much, or the opposite where you're in your head and you don't say anything at all. So think about consistency, you don't have any. Have fun, try it on, get to play, and find the words that you wish you had. Like for example, if you were into human design and you like the way I say it and you quoted me, or you said something that I said, you could reach 10 people, well, I can only get one. So the biggest thing here is in business, this is a superpower because you can give voice to your clients' issues. Most people talk and only hear themselves. When people talk to you and you reflect, wow, I'm hearing you say that you're really stuck on this and blah, 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 people hear it and they're like, I didn't even realize that's how I felt. I didn't even realize that's what I thought. So you're able to almost amplify their voices back to them. So when it comes to like mentoring, guiding and supporting someone, you can really help them feel heard and understood, right? So with marketing, wait to respond, creating opportunities to respond. And then when you do, make sure that they see you as the authority. Don't waste your voice on someone who doesn't want to hear it because it's going to fall on deaf ears. So I think I told you this in your reading. You're either the genius or you're the freak. The genius is the person that they're like, Britta, what do you think? And you blow their minds. Or the freak is the person that's like, let me tell you what I know, and no one hears you. They're like, why is she talking? Right? So gift, absolutely, because girl, to have an open throat, you might feel unheard, but you carry the power of 10 of me by repeating what I say, right? So to get to the good stuff today, because I want to spend most of the time on Q&A, we have, let me move this over here, I guess. Okay, so these are the gates. I would take a photo of this or write it down if you need to, but basically the gates that you have defined on your throat, these are the words that are going to convert. This is how you sell. This is going to make a huge difference in connecting with your audience. So let's start from, let's see. It's all about captivating and magnetizing your audience, selling without making a lot of effort, right? So here I want you to think of any gate on your throat as a gift. And if you don't have any gates, Britta, I don't know if you do. Did you have any defined? Okay, good. So the ones you have defined, you have consistent access to. The ones you don't have defined, you still get to play with them. So you can play with all of these words in your marketing. You can play with all of these words in your lives. You can play with all of these words in your conversations. Because depending on who you're around, you know what they prefer to hear with your open throat. Because you're taking them in. So you're like, huh, these people are more left-brained. Oh, these people are more feeling-based. Oh, these people are more leadership-based. You know how to reach them all. Give yourself permission to play. Okay? So the ones that are defined, ladies, the one you have, that's what you got, right? Unless you're around someone who gives you access to something else. You know how, like, if you're around me, for example, you immediately get access to gate 33 and gate 16. So if you don't have that, when you're with me, you could hit on those. But how would you know, right? You don't have the ability that Britta has to feel someone's voice. You're more handicapped in the sense of you kind of have to throw it and hope it sticks. Right? So let's use your strengths to make you money. And let's start with gate 62. This is the gate of details. So it connects to your head, to your ajna, which is all about logic, right? So think about the gate of details as someone who likes to make sense of things. I call it the sense maker. So who has this gate? Anyone? Tira? Beautiful. So the word here is I think. So when you're going live, when you're doing social media, you want to talk about your thoughts, especially as a generator. Let's say that you heard a podcast and they were talking about something really polarizing, like women empowerment. And you could say things like, wow, I heard this podcast and I thought to myself, what the hell? How does that make sense? It doesn't resonate with me. And I just kept thinking, like, why would someone say this? When you use the word think, people, you trigger that connection that you have, and people are like, that makes sense. You put the details together and it makes sense to people based on your speaking. Does that make sense? Have you tried that before? Have you ever talked about your thoughts? Okay, so I want you to play with that, because this is where you're going to see the biggest difference in conversion is, number one, waiting to respond. Number two, use this thought. Talk about what you think. Talk about how you interpret what you live, what you see, what you experience, and respond to something with your thoughts. Okay? Does that feel good? Beautiful. So gate 23 is the gate of assimilation. I know someone here has this gate. I can't remember who, but gate 20, okay, Tanu, beautiful. So gate 23, it also connects to the ajna, but this is the part of the brain that has certainty. They're like, I know what I'm talking about. I know that this makes sense. Mind you, you're aligned too. You don't know why you know, but you know that you know, right? So I want you to think of this one as like the person who integrates thoughts and ideas, right? Tira thinks you're sitting here integrating your thoughts and ideas into something that you know. Biggest thing here is the waiting to respond. If people don't want to hear it, you're the freak. If people want to hear it, you're the genius, because you know what you're talking about. But if you just keep telling people how much you know, they don't care how much you know. Do you know what I mean? Does that resonate for you? Okay, so don't go around being a know-it-all. But if people call on you, if you are doing marketing, if you're going to show up, talk about what you know. Hey, I heard this. Let me get an example here. Let's talk about emotions. And someone is like, wow, I'm struggling with depression. I can't get out of this hole. You could say something like, man, I know what that feels like. Let me help you process these feelings because I know a couple ways that we can like treat it. Let's start with this one and that one, but throw the word no in there multiple times because you convey a sense of integration and understanding that people can connect with, but it's more logical than it's emotional. Okay. Beautiful. So gate 56, this one is the gate of stimulation. Who has gate 56 here? Tina, Dira, beautiful. So this is a fun one because it's all about storytelling, right? It's literally a storyteller. It's all about stimulation, but they exaggerate stories to make them a little bit more fun. So you tend to embellish your stories, right? So the biggest thing here is being mindful not to exaggerate too much. You want to fluff them, but you still want truth. And talk about what you believe. So having like a mission statement or talking about your beliefs, like if you find a word that really resonates and you're like, I think Tina did a podcast on this, like intention. I believe that intention is blah, 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 and how people really connect with your beliefs. So Dira, when I look at you and you're talking about what you think and what you believe, when you're expressing your thoughts in your mind and helping people understand themselves, you create this understanding for them based on what you know. Tina, for you, it's just about storytelling from a place of what you believe is going to convert. Like, hey, let me help you tell your story because I believe that if you spun it this way, people would really respond to this. But as long as you're focusing on that, it's not going to convert as much. It doesn't mean that you don't know what you're talking about. It just means that you have this gift for storytelling. So for both of you in social media, when you're doing content, when you're showing up, one, talk about what you believe, and two, let storytelling shine because you're gifted at that. Whether you're telling your own story or your client's stories, you connect people based on that. Wow, I can see myself living that. I can understand exactly where they're at, but don't exaggerate so much that you lose the authenticity of it. Okay. How are we feeling? Are we good? Okay, I feel like I'm talking a lot. We're almost done. I'm just going to get into the good stuff in a minute. So now we're talking about gate 35. This one connects to the emotional solar plexus. Does anyone have this one? Tina and Britta, beautiful. So Britta, for you, you get to try them all on, but this one you have consistent access to, right? So this is the gate of progress or the gate of change. I call it the jack of all trades or the adventurer. You know a lot of things. You have tried a lot of things. You jump into adventure. Like learning is fun for you. Trying new things is fun. But you're always chasing a feeling when you're trying these new things. Remember, this is connected to your emotions, right? So a lot of times those things don't live up to the hype. And then you're left feeling melancholy. Like, why the hell did I try that, right? So here you want to talk about your feelings. What does it feel like for you to go through these experiences? What is the feeling that you're chasing? What was the feeling you had as you were going through the experience? So Tina, for you with storytelling and then talking about the feeling, talk about how you felt in the story. That's where people really, really connect. And Britta, for you, connecting your feelings to the person that you're working with, you're giving voice to their feelings where they cannot. Because you not only do you take them in, you also understand them and you can give it back to them. But when you feed back to your client, talk about feelings. Don't talk about logic. Come from a place, I feel like what you're saying is that you don't really feel complete in this regard or whatever. So what I'm feeling is like, we should go in this direction. How does that feel for you? Does that make sense? You really want to lean heavy on the feeling because you're able to connect people to their emotions, especially when they're being too wild and jumping into things and they're not sure. You can kind of help them see it through you, Britta. And for you, Tina, you can kind of help them connect to the, what are you chasing? What's going on here? Does that make sense? Does that resonate for either of you? Beautiful. Okay, so gate 12. Anyone? Britta? Beautiful. Girl, you're really connected to your emotions. I love it. Okay, so gate 12, this is the gate of caution. It's called the gate of standstill. I want you to think of this one as the stranger who changes your life. This is somebody who raises a question and plants doubt in people's mind. So what I mean by planting a seed of doubt is when I was married and I was in social media and I was like, oh, we're so happy. Someone would be like, I'm not so sure that you are. I'm hearing you say that you're happy, but I don't think that's true. And I was like, who the hell does she think she is? And then I go home and I cuss you out. And then in a week, I'm like, wow, she was right. And you changed the whole trajectory of my life. So when you think about this gate, it's about creating doubt in the emotional certainty that someone has. So when it comes to marketing, people might think, oh, I love my brand, it's so perfect. There's something that you're able to pick up and understand based on what they're saying that makes you question, do they even know what they want? So you want to bring doubt up. You want to bring up like, are you sure about that? I'm not so sure that's going to work with the vision that you have. I feel like you're saying X, but really you want Y. Do you see how I'm seeing that? And people are like, oh my God, I didn't even notice that it was disconnected, right? So when you're selling, when you're doing marketing, creating doubt, bringing up situations in which you like swayed your client to like what they really were saying versus what they thought they wanted, this is where you shine. Does that make sense? Would you say that's true for you?
Yes. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
Beautiful. So lean into that, ladies. What I'm trying to show you is these words are key. If you play with them in your language, in your marketing, in your social media with your clients, you're going to find that a lot more people gravitate to you and that your tone conveys like resonance. People are going to be like, you get me. It's like you hear me, you understand me. So use this to your strengths. And I do. That's how I convert. So I know you've seen me in action, but I'm going to show you where in a minute. So gate 45, this one is connected to your will center. Anyone? 45? No? Okay, just in case Tammy has it, this is the beginning of the money line. So it's connected to the will center, which is all about material ownership. This is also a gate of leadership, entrepreneurship, being the king or queen, being a leader, really bringing people together. But the biggest thing here is they are really good at coming up with resources for people. So they need to talk about what they have. And I know that sounds arrogant, but the more they talk about what they have or what they wish they had, like I should have, or I have this, or I have accomplished that, that leadership kind of shines and people see them as the authority. But I'll move on just because I don't think we have anyone here. So gate 33 is the gate of privacy and retreat. Does anyone have this one? Okay, I have it, so I'll share a little bit. This is someone that makes sense of things, but through vision. Oh, you do, Tina?
I have it.
Okay, good. So we share this one. This is a fun one, right? I call it the seer or the person who makes sense. And it is all about storytelling, but in a different way. This is storytelling from the past. So like the Beatles go to India, they live this adventure, they have so much fun. And then they come home and they retreat. And they write down everything that they lived, everything that they learned. And then they share the album and it's a bestseller. So this is someone who people tell all their secrets to. This is someone who takes in a lot of like, if you're connected to 13, right? If you're not connected to 13, you tend to like look at the past as a means of propelling you forward, and you tell stories from a place of like carrying the tradition, keeping people updated of like what works and what doesn't work. So this is someone that like retreats, gathers information, and then puts it out. So you're going to go through seasons in your life of retreating and talking, but the biggest thing here is talking about storytelling from a place of memory, from the past. I remember, and I use this one a lot. When I'm talking about my story and I talk about like my ex-husband, I lean really heavy on I remember how bad I felt and how I thought that I had felt. But you know, even though I remember those moments, I also remember the strength that was born within me. And every time I hit the word remember, I get chills because someone in the audience is like, holy shit, I've lived it. I know what that's like. I completely agree. But it's from a place of playing with the word, because when I'm conveying my memories, when I'm telling a story from my life, when I'm telling a story from something that I've lived, people really, really connect with that. So Tina, storytelling, both sides. One is like creating a vision, like a fable or like a pretty memory. And then this one is from the past to the future. So your storytelling has a lot to do with your purpose here. Okay. Does that feel complete? Okay.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Good. And doing what you do, I believe that, because you've given me a lot of clarity with storytelling, like you're gifted at that, right? So gate number 8, anyone? Tanu, beautiful. So this is the gate of contribution. This is the voice of transformation and authenticity. And this is someone who likes to take charge and move people forward. So it connects with gate 1 on the bottom. Do you have the channel or no? Or just the one gate? Yes, they connect. Okay, so altogether, you're a person that carries a lot of influence. You're a person that when you show up and you do like collaborative, how do you even explain it? You carry a lot of influence and you wake people up just by being you. However, the way that people recognize who you are and that you can lead and that you're somebody who's influential is by offering support. So when you say, I know I can help, I know I can contribute, people start to see you as the authority in what you do. So when you're talking, you don't only talk about what you know, you also talk about what you can do for them. Like, hey, I know that I can help you process that emotion. I know that I can contribute. I can help you lessen the pressure of working so much or feeling overwhelmed. Does that make sense? So lean really heavy on the knowing because you have it on 2 sides. Number 1, how you can help, and number 2, how you know that you can help them. Does that make sense? Beautiful. So gate 31, anyone? No? Oh, Britta, beautiful. So this is all about influence. You are a born leader. And I believe your incarnation cross has to do with leadership as well. Like you're going to be thrusted into leadership. So keep that in mind. But this is collaborative leadership. This is a leader that the people choose. You might never think that you're going to place yourself in a leadership role, but people look to you and they're like, wow, she knows what she's talking about. So you might be thrusted into leadership and you're going to be chosen. So here, talk about how you lead, what you believe in. Think about a leader. It's not something that you say, something that you embody. So when you talk about something that you've spent a lot of time studying, something that you've mastered, something that you deeply understand, your leadership shows. What you know shows, and people look at you and they look up to you and they're like, wow, we should have her drive. We should have her lead. Like even when we're doing the boots and stuff, you were seen, Britta, and you're really quiet, but everybody sees you and everybody loves you. That's why, right? So this is a huge one in the sense of you are going to be thrusted into leadership and people are going to look up to you. So let them see your genius. Let them see how good you are, especially with that open throat. Help them feel seen and understood by you so that they're like, wow, I need her. So to make sales, this is huge, right? So now gate 20, anyone? No one? Just in case Tammy has it. This is connected to the spleen usually, but this is someone who has to be, it's a leader as well, but it's the gate of contemplation, the gate of the now. So they do collaborate, they talk to people, but the gift here is as you're doing something, you show your expertise. So Britta, you just show it, the way you speak with what you know, the way you show up. Someone with gate 20 has to be actively doing it. Like here, let me show you how to open this water bottle. And they influence people through showing them what they do. So for them, it's really good to show up in camera, like showing their skill. Like if they were doing, I don't know, hypnosis, it would be really wise for them to make videos showing people how they do hypnosis. Because people would be like, oh my God, they're fantastic, right? Now, gate 16, anyone? Oh, Tina, delayed reaction. So this is called the gate of skills or the gate of enthusiasm. I also have this one. So think of this one as like the experimenter and master. You have raw natural talent and it is obvious in the way that you speak. So you're here to master and express a skill. Not only are you a generator who's going to master something over time, you also have your talent literally oozing at you. If you don't believe me, I have this gate. I don't have the connection to 48. Does yours connect? Okay, so you have the ability to like surpass the talent. You have the ability to like sit down, focus enough and nurture the thing if you do it daily. And it's like Beethoven, the guy's dead, but we still listen to the symphony because it was that good. So you're naturally talented, you're naturally gifted. People see how much you know, how the more excited that you get, the more your skills come through. Like when I talk human design, people are like, wow, Jordy, this is awesome. It's because my joy, it's literally felt in how much I know. So that's you, except you have the ability to surpass what other people have done if you apply yourself. So now that's kind of the bulk of what I wanted to cover, but how are we feeling? Do we have any questions about these gates? I wanted to leave ample time to kind of work through and help you understand how to use this in business, right? Because okay, Britta?
Yeah, sorry, I had a question about the gate 8. I have
Yes.
that one, but it's not connected to the 1.
That's okay, because remember, depending on who you're around, they connect you. You're not connected in any of them because your throat is undefined. But you do have access to this particular gate. So you have leadership in 2 ways. Leadership based on the collaborative, I know I can help, let me help, allow me to show you that I can, or just being of service, right? And then the second one, 31, which is where people see you and they want to be led by you. You are chosen. Now, if 31 did connect to 7, which I have gate 7, together, me and you are the perfect leader. Because I'm like the army structured and you're more the collaborative. Everybody loves Britta. And when they come together, I'm like the influence behind the leader, but you're the leader itself. Does that make sense? You actually have the ability to ground it. You have the ability to sound like a leader, be a leader, and have the vision. I'm more the influence behind the leader. So yours don't connect. It doesn't mean you don't have access to these. So basically for you, Britta, I believe you had 1 up here, right? A couple ones on the feelings, and then your leadership, right?
It's 35, 12, 8, and 31.
Beautiful. So feelings and the kind of leader that you are, that is where you shine. Bring people into their feelings, bring people into their power, show people that they can lead, that they can show up, that they can use their emotions, what would you even call it? You work with empaths, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what a gift, right? To connect them to their emotions where they suffer so much, and to use that emotion to be their superpower, where they can literally lead and help the world by working with their emotion, right? And you have access to all of that if you just take them in. You just have to take in their energy and help them process their feelings and turn it into like a superpower. So everything that you have kind of goes together if you can understand the logic behind it.
It's coming. I can feel it.
Good. Well, right now you have access to everything that we all have, right? So if you wanted to play with the words, you probably could use most of them because you do have an open throat. So not only do you know what I need to hear, you know how I need to hear it so that it'll hit. So if you start to lean into that knowing of whenever I'm around someone, I know what they need to hear. You don't need to plan your words. You just kind of flow like, okay, I'm hearing you say blah, blah, blah. Is that what you meant? Oh my God, Britta, I had no idea. So having an open throat is actually a gift because not only can you amplify it, you can play with all of them and you can reach the masses. Look at Oprah. Some of us can't because we only know one way of speaking. But where you shine, emotions and leadership. So think about putting the 2 together in your marketing and your business and how you promote yourself, and use the words that you wish you had. Like, for example, if Oprah said, I don't know, today is a blue sky. I don't know. And you're like, okay, guys, Oprah said today is a blue sky. And the reason why I felt that in my soul is blah, 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 blah. And I know that if, we can actually help each other if we lean into what that thing said. So like playing with the words, right? And deeper than that, like, and even though this quote hit really deep, I'm not so sure that it conveys, like, it's so much bigger than blah, 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 blah. And if you play with the words, people are going to be like, Britta, how does your brain do that? How can you take something like this and turn it into something like that? Because most of us don't have access to that.
Cool.
You do struggle. You might feel unheard. You might be like, oh, I don't make any sales. It's because you're trying to compete with 78% of the world who have confidence and know what they want to say. For you, it's more about letting go of being right and being perfect and just embracing that in the moment you either know what to say or you don't. And when you need to speak, you'll know. Is the last
Makes sense. Thank you.
Of course. Ladies, anyone else? Dara?
Yeah, I've got two questions, but the first one's quick. So the words I see, it has like for 62 and 56, it has think and believe in quotation marks.
Mhm.
Is it specifically more advantageous to use those words specifically or to convey the idea of those words?
Both. Is to play with the words. The goal behind human design is experimentation. Let's say that you play with the word think and you just do, I don't know, like a carousel around thought patterns that blah, 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 blah. And then on your caption, you talk about what you think was important about that. You can kind of play with belief in thinking, but if you use them to your advantage, you will add the words into your vocabulary often, because when you hit the right person, this is how they connect with you. This is that generator sacral, holy crap, this is my person moment. Because for you and I, it was my story. It's the joy, the enthusiasm that I have right here about human design, and then how that helped you correlate it to what you've lived that we have in common. Right? So I'm talking about my story, what I remember, the feelings, how I overcame it, and how me trying human design and falling in love with it. And you could feel the enthusiasm behind that. That's what made you be like, immediately, yes, you purchased before it was even a thing. Right? So
Yeah.
that's what connects you to your soul tribe. That's what connects you to your people. So your beliefs and your thoughts, you might think you don't have anything to offer, but your perception of whatever it is, like let's say that we're talking about, what comes to mind? Under empowerment, let's say like feminine energy. And everybody's like, oh, feminine energy is blah, blah, blah. But you are like, no, I think it's so much bigger. We believe that feminine energy is just this, but it could also be blah, blah, blah. And the reason why, it's because I've experienced it. I think that if you lean into this, and people will be like, holy crap, Dara, I had no idea that it could be so much more. But the way that you see it, the way that you interpret it, the way that you break down this big concept from the Ashna into this little bite-sized thing in the throat, that is what gets people to get behind you. That is what gets people to be like, damn, I like the way that she talks empowerment. I like the way that she talks feminine energy. So it's about experimenting, try it on, see how you like to use the words. But the more you throw in these words, the more these gates get activated and they bring your people in.
That makes perfect sense, actually, because I did a couple of TikToks last week and the comments I keep getting are, wow, thank you for explaining this. No one else talks about it the way you do. And I was like,
Exactly.
okay, cool. So I
Exactly.
run with that.
Yes. And then when you're doing social media, which is one, depending on what you like, because you might not like video, right?
Oh, I love video.
Okay, but if you didn't, right, this would be words to play with of like, what are the beliefs of someone in a narcissistic relationship versus the beliefs of an empowered woman? Or what are some thoughts that you might have when you're in a toxic relationship and don't even know? And then what are better thoughts to rewire your thinking? Do you see what I mean? You play with the words to create a vision for them, but that is where you connect, because they're going to be like, holy crap, I'm having that thought right now. And then here comes your caption talking about why you believe this thought is better than the other. And they're like, yes, tell me more. So use it to your advantage. This is about understanding self and digging deeper than just, oh, I just throw words and people love them, and actually playing to your strengths. It's like, I'm giving you the map of how to use this box that you have. You play to it. Trust me, because this is what's going to like triple your cells. Your tribe is going to respond. For you, believe in thought. Think about that from an empowerment, divine feminine energy, when like the feminine is the opposite of logic. You bring logic and sense to something that is not logical. Do you see what I mean?
I do.
So for people who don't understand feminine energy, especially these go-getting, hardworking women, you're giving them what they think they want, which is logic, to interpret something that's so much bigger than logic. Does that resonate?
It does, 100%. Thank you.
What was the second question? Did I hit them both?
You did. I think the second question it had to do with the channels, because those are the only two gates I have, but they are both connected to 17 and 11. I wasn't sure if that changes the use of those words or not.
It just makes them extra powerful. So gate 11 is the gate of ideas, and gate 17, I believe, is the gate of opinions. So there are not facts unless people want to hear them. Nobody cares what you believe. Nobody cares what you think if they don't care about you. So have people ask you. In a group setting, you want to be like, okay, what's your best tip? Well, I think that blah, 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 women should do this. They're asking you. Create opportunities for you to respond. So like when I'm talking about social media and like writing the thoughts or the beliefs, that's you creating conversation and buzz around what you're saying. And people are going to be like, oh my gosh, tell me more. Don't initiate. Always wait for people to care. Always wait for people to want to hear it. But the way to do that is to position yourself in the thick of it and then blow them away with your expertise when they call on you. Does that make sense? And I know it sounds counterintuitive because it's like, oh, how am I going to close? Girl, you attract, you don't chase.
Yeah.
You're a generator. That's what we do.
That makes perfect sense. Thank you.
Of course. Anyone else?
Uh,
Dina and Tanu?
Yeah.
Tanu, I guess, and then
So,
Tina.
Tina, want to go ahead?
You can go first.
Okay, thank you. So my channel 8 is connected with number 1, right?
Mhm.
Gate number 1. So what is gate number 1 about, and how I can amplify this this word of knowledge that I can, and I know how I can contribute to this. How can I mix both the things and then operate from the business?
Well, gate number 1 is all about creative self-expression, right? And you are creative. You are somebody who, when you are tuned in, creativity literally flows through you. And then gate number 8 is all about being able to contribute and help the collective, right? So what comes through you mixed with that, literally, I want to say, let me look up the channel name. Give me 1 second. 1-8. I want to say it's the Channel of Awakening. Channel of Inspiration, that's what it is. So is the channel of inspiration. Think about creativity literally itself, like it's part of your G center, right? Your G center is all about self, purpose, direction, and it's all about being the creative. And then you have gate number 8, that's all about creating a contribution. So what you bring to the table is inspiration for the world. You can literally wake people up based on what you're bringing in, the way you talk about it, how you show up, how you embody it. But the way that people see and get inspired by you is when they see you collaborate. It's not that you're not a leader, it's that you're more of a collaborative, what's the word I'm looking for? Collaborative type of person. So you need a lot of alone time. Creativity has to happen, but when it does, and you offer it to the world as a, let me help you. You know how you do your lives on Facebook?
Yeah.
That's exactly in alignment with that. It's for the collective. It's for people to feel heard and seen and like, let me help you. I know that I can help you process these massive feelings, but it all comes creatively and you inspire people by doing that.
Okay.
Does
Well,
that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. And that this also brings me one more question where,
Mhm.
because I'm a manager and you say
Yes.
you have to take a pause before you say anything, like respond, right?
Well, for you is wait to respond first, then inform. So the initial thing is, yes, create an opportunity to respond, get inspired, and then speak on that, right? But you have the gift of being able to initiate after you've decided. So if
Okay.
you've decided, okay, I'm going to go and pursue this, let me go create a course, you actually can. You don't need someone to tell you, oh, we need this course. So for
Okay.
example, you went through this period of really heavy emotion. Your creativity was at its highest because you were at the lowest, right?
Oh, yeah.
That's how it works. Because when you're at the lows, that's when creativity can come in, because otherwise you're going too fast. And then you come out of this low and you're like, oh, wow, I'm so inspired. Channel of inspiration, right? And now you've created this whole course and you just move forward and like now you just got to tell people about it. So the initial piece was waiting to respond. You had to respond to that low by allowing that creativity to come through. Now you've decided this is what I'm doing. I'm creating this course. Now just let people know. So there's a certain progression to you, and yours is not just waiting to respond. You also get to inform and initiate when it feels aligned after you've responded to that initial part.
So I have to be aware about when my initiate, the emotions, or you can say when I am in action to initiate. Do I have to be very aware about those things?
Say that one more time.
Do I have to be very aware about when to initiate from my side?
You shouldn't initiate. You should respond first. Then
So
it's
that's-
informing.
that is the thing which I am not able to understand. So, for example, if I'm not attending any you call event, right?
Mhm, mhm.
Or any networking, or I have only my Facebook page or my Instagram page, or maybe word of mouth, right?
Mhm.
How can I respond over there? Because that is my territory. That is, I'm the in charge there, right? So there, how can I respond? Because I have to do something so that people know, okay, I'm available. That is my take on making the-
Perception is reality. I want you to believe that you're a generator. That's
Okay.
number one. Wait to
Okay.
respond. Waiting to respond doesn't mean you don't do anything. It means you stop here and you open here.
Mm,
What are you hearing? What is lighting you up? What's in the news? What podcast did I listen to? What is inspiring me? Once that initial spark of inspiration comes in, like for you, the last chunk of inspiration came from that really low point. Oh, I'm
Yeah.
so overwhelmed. This sucks. And then came this surge of, holy crap, I could create this program, right?
yeah.
And then you're responding to that by creating the program. That's you responding. Then
Right.
you inform, you don't initiate. You
Mm.
inform. Initiate is a
Okay.
manifestor
Got it.
thing. So
Got
the
it.
waiting to respond is what is lighting you up? What is making you feel creative? What is making you want to create something and respond to that? Then let people know. We let people know, but it's more of a, we're responding to something you told me you needed. You can just go and tell them about it because you're responding to the outside stimulus as a generator, right? And then you just get to tell them about it. Someone like me, I created this program in the process of responding. Oh, I'm seeing that people need this. Okay, I guess let me start creating this thing. And I was like, guys, I'm creating this program and I'm launching. And they're like, oh my God, me. But I was never informing. You can. So you don't initiate, you wait to respond, then inform. After
Yes.
you've responded, you respond always. We're all designed to wait, even manifestors.
Okay. That makes sense.
Okay,
Thank you.
beautiful. Tina, what about you, my love?
Had some of my questions answered, but I had a question about 35
Mhm.
and from the standpoint of like marketing, because I don't know. I think I've learned a lot. I know a lot about marketing and like selling and stuff. And it's always like, don't make it about you. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? So I think that's where I'm struggling with how I could use the I feel, because I don't want anybody being like, you know what I mean? Like, girl, we don't care. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Well, yes
I'm
and
trying
no.
to figure out how to pivot that into like, I guess storytelling, because that's really big, but I'll let you
Well,
respond.
let's talk about what you got, right? Because you said gate 16. So you're meant to experiment and talk about it, right?
Mhm.
You have gate 35, which is all about the jack of all trades, adventuring, trying new things, right? It's all about
Mhm.
change. And then you have the two storytelling gates, so 56 and 33, correct?
Mhm.
So your whole thing is about storytelling, both past and creatively storytelling. On
Mhm.
top of that, you've tried a lot of things. You
Mhm.
know what it feels like to get it wrong. You know what it feels like to
Yeah.
try something and be like, I tried this on and it didn't fit. Or, hey, I tried it on. I know a little bit about that. Let me help you. I feel like I can help you. I feel like we can get this done. Like you can do a landing page in a day. Hell, in an hour. Let's be real. You did that, right? So when you say, I feel like we can get this done because of everything that you've tried, everything that you've lived, that's where you bring in the jack of all trades. It's all
Yeah.
about progress and change. You've tried a lot, you know a lot. So talk about that feeling and that convey that feeling of peace to them, that you know what you're talking about. It's not so much about I feel my feelings, and you can, but you're talking, remember, you're not the main character. You're
Yeah,
an
yeah.
extra in their movie. Make them feel like you know what they feel like when they don't know what they're doing. Like when I call you and I'm like, Tina, I don't know how to do a landing page. You're like, girl, I got it. I feel like I can get this done in an hour. I'll call you back.
You're
That's
right.
who you are. You convey what you know, but also if it came to storytelling and using that feeling, you could pull on the feeling and be like, okay, let's talk about a time in my life where I remember going through this. When you say, and I felt like this, and the feelings were like depression and sadness, and hitting that low point felt so low, you can play with both. It's just
Right.
a matter of your brain is telling you, I'm only talking about me. You are telling a story here about you.
Mm.
This is how I do it. And I talk about what I remember, what I've lived. Now, this one tends to embellish things. This might be the part of you that's making you feel like you're too into yourself. So maybe when you play with this belief in storytelling, it's more about other people's stories, like what your clients
Mm.
went through and what they believed and how you helped them figure it out.
Yeah, I wrote something down for that I'm excited to, like, you said something to Dira about like what are the beliefs behind X, and I was like, oh my gosh, there's so many
Yes.
beliefs around what I
Mhm.
do that people come to me and I'm like, oh my God, let's
Yes.
work through this.
Yeah, and you could shatter those beliefs because think about the ashna for the ladies who have any gates up here. You
Mhm.
have this place in your brain that's the processor, understanding big concept, big ideas, big things, and you're funneling it through into like a verbal thing that people can comprehend. So
Mhm.
when you're talking about thoughts, knowing, and belief, there is no certainty unless people want to hear it. But for the right person, what you know, think, and believe is exactly how they feel, think, and believe. And they're like, oh my God, you get me. So if you play with those words, it's almost like you're pulling on your audience just by using the words they like to hear.
Mm.
Does that make sense? You can
Yeah,
appeal broadly, and it's not just to left brain people, also to people who could be emotional and have a hard time understanding what they even believe. Like something that my teacher would tell me was like, something about love. And she goes, okay, so what do you believe about love? What's your truth around love? And I was like, I don't know. She goes, okay, so question your beliefs. Someone with this gate could tell me a story to help me understand what I truly believe.
Mm.
Do you see
Yeah.
what I mean? Like you
Yeah.
might think that love is abuse. You might think that love is someone hitting you because they love you. No, those beliefs are wrong. A more empowering belief is I love myself enough to not tolerate that. But you got to play with the words to reach the people. Does that
Mhm.
make sense?
Yeah, no, that helps a lot for sure. Thank you.
Of course. Okay, so basically that was the bulk of today is how to use this in marketing, how to use this in business, and tip of the iceberg, literally, is just experimentation. Experiment with your throat. Don't take the first step on a sell or on anything unless you're a manifester. Let people come to you and then respond. Be yourself, use these words, connect with them, be invited. People, like, they don't care what you have to say unless they care about you. The people who walk in my booth and for the human design, they at some level, they're there for a reason. Them, I can pitch all day and I still don't. Notice that I always say, oh, I'm not here to pitch, right? But by the time the thing is done, I always make a sell. You know why? Because I'm telling them about my story. I'm bringing it into those gates. I'm being like, let me show you my talent by changing your life and blowing your mind. And at the end of that, they're like, take my money. Right? So that's a gift, but it's really not. It's just I've nurtured my gates. I've played with them and I've tried on a few things. And I noticed that every time I pull on the heartstrings and I talk about my memories and I allow what I know to be enough with gate 16, people see me and they're like, wow, I want you. I've gone to everybody else, but you do it better. So strategy, wait to respond for my managers, then inform. You don't inform and create and initiate anything. You wait to respond. You wait for that sacral, right? So timing is everything with the throat. Even though you might have it defined and you're confident, timing is everything. If you're not a manifester, you wait. You don't initiate, you don't lead. Yeah, you can make a friend, but you don't pitch to them right away. You're like, oh yeah, I do, for example, marketing, and I build websites, and I could really help with that, and talk. And by the end of the conversation, yeah, whatever. Okay, so I'm leaving. Did you have any questions? Oh my God, girl, how do I work with you? Do you have a website? Let them beg you. Let them come to you. You are not supposed to start anything. And play with like the inflection of your voice. Like the less you speak and you allow yourself to wait, the stronger your voice comes across when you do speak, especially if you have an open throat. Because the more you hold it and you wait for someone to recognize you as the authority, Britta, the more your voice carries when you do speak, right? So practicing skills of like softening the blow for my defined ladies so that you don't come across as rude or blunt or direct. If people are not listening, stop talking. just stop. That goes for everybody. Like, if you're not connecting, if your people are not responding, you could feel it. Some people are kinesthetic, some people get chills, some people see eye contact. You know when someone's not engaged, don't waste your energy, right? The energy in your throat does not lie because you can literally feel it in your body. When someone is connecting to what you're saying, do not tell me you don't feel it, right? Anyone here doesn't feel it, because they'll show you. Okay, that's the biggest thing, is you are the expert. What you're saying matters for the right audience. If you play with these words, you find and you call your audience out of the crowd and just play with it, experiment. Like when we come back next week, if you ladies try this, I would be shocked if you haven't made a sale. If you're having conversations, I would be shocked. And that's not arrogance. It really does work. So do we have any final words? How are we feeling? I guess one word to end today's session. How are we feeling? Oh, Tanu, I see your hand, my love. Go ahead.
I'm feeling great. I'm feeling good. And I'm very hopeful, but I just have only one very short question. How to improve our communication skill, how to be more soft and don't sound like we are rude or we are just being bossy, because it's like inbuilt system inside.
I
And
hear you.
sometimes it's so difficult to not operate that way.
I hear you. It's allowing for different opinions, different voices, and for people who don't have a powerful voice to be heard. So instead of telling, you ask, may I offer something? Hey, something's coming up. Do you mind if I share? Are you open to hearing some feedback on that? Hey,
Okay.
can I comment on that? You don't just say, oh my God, yeah, we do this, 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 and that. Because then they're like, who the fuck? And why are you talking? Like, we don't care. But if you offer, as a coach, I was trained in this, which helps a lot, is, may I offer what's coming up? No, thank you. Okay, they're not ready for it. Even if your guides are pulling you by the hair, like tell them, you ask. Someone might not be ready for what you have to say. And that's the part of a defined throat that we think, because we're so confident what we have to say has to come out. Sometimes people are not ready. Sometimes they're not your people. Sometimes you're wasting your breath. So the way to soften the blow is play with your voice and allow space for people who talk less. Like when I see someone like Britta, I always say, hey, how does that feel? Does that resonate? Because I need to hear her, because she's so calm. But when we're the ones that talk a lot, we think, oh, as long as I'm talking, I'm good. And then you realize it's been an hour and no one else had a say. So that's how you soften the blow, because you only hear yourself. Does that make sense? So it's almost like we're a little self-centered when we're talking.
Completely, that makes complete sense.
Yeah, the way to overcome that is to tune back into the frequency of love, allowing other people, and instead of demanding or telling, asking, offering, questioning. Hey, is it okay if, may I offer that? Can I share something? And if they say no, no means no. Like, it's not talking over people. Does that make sense?
Yeah, very much. Thank you.
Of course. Anyone else, ladies?
I'll go.
Mhm.
I am like really inspired and excited because I got a lot. I don't know. I'm just excited to like reconnect. I feel like with my audience and just talking with people and starting that conversation again, because I'm just like in a learning season in general. And I think sometimes I can start being like, oh, maybe that's how I should do it, or that's how I should say it. But I'm realizing like, no, I can take the meat, spit out the bones, and like kind of make it natural. So yeah, I'm really excited. I was like taking notes over here, like, oh, I know I could turn that into like a little video.
If we'd had more time, I do have a meditation to help you clear your throat, more like releasing any stuck energy. Believe it or not, it's as simple as yawning. Breathe into your throat 3 times and then yawn 3 times. And if you're not really yawning, fake it. By the 3rd one, you'll be yawning. I don't know if you know, whenever you do energy work and you like stretch and yawn, you're releasing energy. If you focus your breath on your throat, and then after 3 breaths, you allow yourself to yawn, you literally clear the energy field. And then play with your words.
Wow.
Especially before like a really big event, if you need to talk, allow your throat to release.
Wow, now I understand. After every healing session, I am just yawning and yawning and yawning and yawning.
Yes, you're releasing energy. Those are like little pockets of energy that you're moving through. And you could do that with all the centers. Breathe into them, 3, and then yawn for the throat. But any other body part, like breath is everything. Breath is 99.9% of it. The yawning just helps to move the energy through once you have focused breath going into it. But y'all, the throat is where it's at. This is where the money happens. This is where the connection happens. And I'm not saying money, just abundance in general, your
Mhm.
tribe, business-wise, contact-wise, friendship-wise, you will reach your people if you're leaning into your strengths, because it puts like an inflection in your voice that your people really respond to. Everybody won't, but there are people who are going to hear you speak and be like, what the heck? And Britta, even though your throat is open, you probably have more power than all of us when you learn to use it right. Because we can reach 1, you can reach 10. So ladies, one word and we'll wrap up, because I feel bad that we're going over and I know Britta's super late for you. So what's one word for you, Tanu?
I am super excited. I'm just ready to go live right now. I am so pumped.
I love that so much. Awesome. Britta, what about you, babe?
Yeah, I'm also inspired. I'm thinking about ways to make all of the gates that I have work. And just taking in what you were saying. I think I can think of some examples where I had pieces already in place, but
Mhm.
now I just need to connect all of them. And yeah, especially the emotion one, that's
The biggest
good.
thing is find someone who has the words. Whoever you look up to, whoever you admire that conveys what you want to say. Like, let's say you really believe in the color red and someone talks about the color red, you want to use the way they said it and then throw your flavor on it. Because
Yeah.
when I tell you it converts, it'll blow you away. Look at Oprah. She does that beautifully. She uses their books, she uses their text, she brings it up in conversation, and everybody's like, Oprah, who? She's incredible.
Mhm.
Awesome.
Yeah. Thank you.
I'm so glad you're here. Dira, what about you, love?
Determined. I think I am going to revamp my storytelling and I believe it will be more effective. You see what I did there?
I see that. I'm excited. I'm excited to see you guys play with it, because that's the whole point of this. Now that you have the understanding, let's apply it. Because the last 2 weeks, we're just coming up with your secret sauce and integrating everything. I'm ready to see y'all level up. I know you already started to, but now let the money flow. It's time. Awesome. Tina, what about you, love?
Oh yeah, I'm ready to like implement some things. Like I'm not like 10, I'm not going live, but I do feel like there's a lot here that I can use. And I don't know why I'm really good at storytelling, but sometimes I get in the like in my mind and I'm like, is that too much? Or like, do people care? But clearly, I need to lean in. So
Well, the head is not the authority.
right, I
Remind
know.
everyone
So
of that. So if in your gut, the storytelling, because it feels really natural when you do it, right? And you're aligned too. You are naturally talented at this. When you talk, when you storytell, gate 16 lights up. People can feel that joy, that enthusiasm, and get it. And then you are gifted at storytelling, Tina. If you don't do it, it's a disservice to yourself. But you know,
for you.
I'm gonna leave that there. I'm inspired by all of you. I'm excited to see what you guys do this week. Try it on. Even if you go live or you do social media post or you just have one conversation with someone, try the words on. Make a post-it. That's what I did. And just start throwing them in whenever you can and watch how people respond to you completely different.
Yeah.
I like the post-it idea.
Yeah, I had to until it clicked. Now it's just natural, but I can't wait to see it. Yes, Tanu?
Can I say something in response to Tina, whatever she said?
Of course.
Tina, I am from journalism background and I was a journalist for almost a decade, maybe more than that. I have also done some writing stuff for Bollywood industry, like a, script writer and content development. I would love to help you if you feel there is something you can discuss with. So, you can text me, you can call me, anything. So I'm there for you.
Thank you so much. I went to college for journalism, so that's so funny. Yeah.
Wow, that would be great.
Small world, girl, you never know. I feel like the universe brings us together for a reason. There are powerhouses in here, and the moment you guys see yourselves, like the way that I see you through human design, we're about to kill it. It is time. It is our turn. We've done the work, and now you have understanding. Now it's all about putting it into practice, applying it, and trying it on. We have 2 more weeks, and they're jam-packed. Y'all just wait. I'm so excited. I can't wait to see what you guys do.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Of course. Well, ladies, I'm going to let you go. I love you all, and I will see some of you. Oh, actually, you're going to get 2 replays for the price of 1 because I messed up last week with my retreat, but you will get them. I'm off tomorrow, first thing in the morning. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Bye,
Thank you
ladies.
so much.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.